an entrance that was by Heikki Kovalainen, but it was Lewis Hamilton who stole the show. And to my right-hand side, David is actually discussing with Jonathan Neal exactly what went on in this race for McLaren. So maybe that's the perfect time for you to have a bit of a chat about what happened.
I was just going to say, Jonathan, you've also got your hands full there. You're celebrating.
I like that. This to celebrate and this to quench your thirst. Is that the...
Just the appetizer that we spray around here. I don't think it's the real deal. I've not tried it yet.
We were just having the conversation there. Jonathan was asking, did we know what had happened to Sebastian with the tyre? And I was saying that the information we have is it was a sort of instantaneous loss of pressure. Maybe you can explain to us what sensors you have on the car and how accurate and how quick that feedback comes to the engineers.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching what was happening in Seb's car. Obviously, there are loads of sensors on the car, something like 120 or so. There are tyre pressure sensors on most of the cars. They do react very quickly, but when you get a sudden deflation like that, it's really hard to work out exactly when the car started to move and when the tyre went. I've no idea what happened there. Obviously, low tyre pressures at the start of the circuit. The tyre moves around a lot more. Anything could happen, speculation.
Are you aware of just how much lower the pressures are when they sit on the grid? It's not a figure that I actually ever paid any attention to as a driver because it is what it is, but would there be a PSI down? Would it be as much as 2 PSI?
It won't be more than 2. I'd imagine it's somewhere in the region of 1 to 2 PSI in that order, and then as the tyre heats up and the pressure comes up, you get to the optimum point that you've been testing all weekend.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. I'm just going to pop in here, Dave, and have a quick word with Taff, who looks after Lewis's car. He's a great guy and knows exactly what's going on. Hello. Sorry about this. We love putting you on the telly, and they love seeing you on the television. Let's just have a quick chat. We will do in just a moment. Let's have a quick chat first about what was going on in the garage before the race in terms of Lewis's car. About 45 minutes pre-race. Lots of action in here, almost reminiscent of China. What was happening?
Yeah, unfortunately, we had the same problem as China, but not as bad. So we managed to fix it a little bit quicker, and yeah, it proved a good omen basically. So yeah.
And the face you gave me just then was, oh no, I think they might have seen what happened. Listen, we don't miss a trick here. This wasn't quite as much of a panic though as China. Was that because you realised the problem earlier, or?
Yes, we were on top of it sooner basically. We realised we had the problem. Yeah. So it was we put measures in to find the problem, and they showed us the indication, so we fixed it a lot sooner.
Well done, congratulations. And David is with a man who knows how it feels to be on the podium.
Well, indeed. Andy, you were up there celebrating this victory. Yeah. Tell us the emotions.
Oh, it's very, very special to get the chance to go up on the podium and celebrate for the whole team. I mean, it's such a huge effort to win any Grand Prix, as I'm sure any of the guys up and down the pit lane will tell you, that to be up there and be able to shake the trophy and spray the champagne is just a fantastic feeling.
I didn't see any mistakes from Lewis during that Grand Prix at all. So would you say that is the Lewis Hamilton of old, faultless drive from the front? Was it the minute Sebastian had that problem, or was that what released him back to his old performance, or do you think he was on it anyway this weekend?
I think he's been on it all this weekend, absolutely sure. But I do think that was a fantastic race performance from Lewis all the way through. I mean, I think he's very well controlled all the way. He got a nice lead, and then he sort of kept that. And as you say, I don't think he's put a foot wrong. I certainly didn't see one.
Great stuff. Wonderful. And let's just sort of share these scenes with you in the garage at the moment. Well done. Top work, Andy. Come and take a look around here, because we've got lots of people wearing rocket red tops, desperately trying to give us some fizz to drink. And I want to squeeze past all of them and just have a little look at these trophies. So here you go. This is one of the joys of the F1 Forum, the chance to show you what you get your hands on. First place trophy for Lewis. That was what you saw him holding aloft just a few moments ago, and the winning constructor trophy as well. I'm not sure where David's gone. It's always easy to lose him just in these garages.
Hello.
Oh, you're there. Hello. I couldn't see you anyway. And just give us an idea of the kind of emotion for these guys in here, because they don't get the big bucks that the drivers are on. They don't get the private planes in and out. They have to pack all this stuff up. In about 3 or 4 hours' time, they'll still be working away in here. It's all about winning the trophies for them as well, though, isn't it?
Well, incredibly, yeah. They will be working hard after this brief celebration of this success. They'll be working into the wee small hours to pack all this up and have it shipped off to Brazil. So there is an incredible amount of work. But this is the part that I always loved, the teamwork, sharing that with your team members. And you've got one side of the garage obviously working exclusively on Lewis's car, the other side working exclusively on Jensen's. But during the pit stops, it's every man on deck. Yeah. And they've got to deliver. And I think today, their pit stops were consistently the quickest pit stops that we saw during that Grand Prix. And that was crucial to keeping him out in front of Fernando Alonso.
And we know that these guys that are standing around now celebrating, discussing the stories of the race, going through what happened for them personally.
This is a great image, actually. Sorry to cut across you. That's Sam Michael, who was the
let's go and have a chat with him.
Can we grab him, actually? You know what? I know he's not allowed to speak to the media, so let's go and grab him. I think it's... Oh, you've got him. Sam, you're not allowed to talk to the media. Can you explain why that would be?
Sam, you can trust us. You know what we're like. We're proper people, Sam.
What, right, let me explain.
Let's have a chat with Sam.
Let me explain that situation. He has been released from his Williams contract early. He resigned his position as technical chief, and he started here at McLaren, where he will be taking over as the team manager. But part of the transfer deal is he's not allowed to talk to the media or wear team kit on the instruction of a senior member of the Williams team.
Is that not a little pernickety to say, okay, you can go over there? But
I think it's
not even talk to him about his wife and family and living in Oxford and school and all that old nonsense. Lads.
You can ask him something not about
racing. He's never
racing.
been shy in his life before. Come on, Sam. We forget that. We'll speak to Frank and get you out of it. Come on, Frank. Come on. Have a chat to us.
Eddie just
He's
needs
hopelessly shy guy.
Yes.
Sam, you should just be happy he's getting your name right. You know, he'll be calling you Paul before you know it.
Right, I think that's enough of an interview that's not going to happen.
Needs to be. I'm giving up.
Okay. I wasn't too worried though, because all Eddie had to do was interview him and make it totally nothing to do with the race, and that would just be the norm anyway, wouldn't it? Talking about all kinds of other things. Nothing changes at all. Right.
I'll leave all the techno heads to you and Martin and stuff like that. We look at the lifestyle.
Okay, right.
Martin.
Huh?
So Sam, I'll let them carry on. So Sam has left Williams, made his way to another team. The same applies to Nico Rosberg. Left Williams a little bit of a long time ago, though, compared to Sam. However, he was racing today. Let's find out how he would assess his Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Here's Nico with Lee.
Well, Nico, a strong race from yourself and an aggressive move past your teammate at the start.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. We had a few corners. And it all worked out well. And then the race went really well for me. It was good strategy. I was able to take care of the tires pretty well, so I could do long stints. And I was quite close, a little bit closer again to the winner. So we're progressing.
Heading into Brazil, do you think that progress will continue to a track like Sao Paulo?
I don't know. I mean, it's the same car, so we might have a few bits and pieces new for next year to try. But other than that, it's going to be pretty similar, so I don't expect too big things, but maybe a little bit again, yeah.
Okay, just to give you a little update about the shirt, it's now gone up to £9,100 after our little mention on the television a minute ago.
Well, I'm confused how things get into reverse, because last time I looked at it last night, it was 16,000. So maybe you could explain that to me, Jay.
I think there were a few bids that weren't meant to be on there, and it's now gone over £10,000, I'm hearing. So there you go. As we speak,
keep moving
the shirt's
upwards.
going up. And it's bbc.co.uk/Pudsey if you would like to get involved and you'd like to bid for the shirt. Can you point out any of the autographs on there?
I can, certainly, because Caroline, she was very dangerous. This was her down here. Very risky girl, but then she must like Irish people.
This is a very worthy cause, but you've got to say this would be, you'd pay 10 grand for him not to wear that one.
Should we make no reference to the thing that you've got on? But my granny threw out worse than that. I'm telling you, it's shocking.
We should start running bids for people to take your shirts off us. Let's talk about Michael Schumacher then. We've heard from his teammate Nico Rosberg. 17 years ago, this weekend, Michael was crowned the world champion. I suppose it's the championship that many people say he shouldn't have been allowed to keep hold of, Eddie. What were you doing on this day in 1994 in Adelaide?
I'll have to get my facts right, which is probably going to be difficult in itself. But I was on the pit lane here right at this time. I think we inherited fourth place. I'll have to check on that. Was Alex Zanardi, somebody like that? Which was, incidentally, I don't know if people will want to know, he won first place in the category that he was doing in the marathon in New York last week or whatever it was. It was a remarkable feature. But anyway, back to this particular story. Michael Schumacher went on to prove that he was worthy of being the world champion, but no one really liked this, and actually this lived with his makeup for a long period of time. People never, ever forgot.
I imagine that was a difficult watch even now, wouldn't you say, for Damon Hill, David? That one will always hurt.
Yeah, unquestionably. What we saw was the end of that situation there where Michael had made a mistake, run off, hit the wall, damaged his car. And when he came back on, Damon went for a move which probably in hindsight he didn't need to make, because Michael would have gone out of the race with suspension damage. But he did, he turned in, and there was a lot of controversy. Did he turn in deliberately? Well, presumably he made a conscious decision to go for the apex, but Damon was alongside, he damaged his suspension, and the rest is history.
And here we are, 17 years later, Michael Schumacher still driving, still working hard at the wheel, and today just behind his teammate Nico Rosberg. Here's his take on the race.
Michael, was that a long walk back for you?
Nice drive on the scooter.
Did you run out of fuel at the end, or were you saving fuel?
No, we had a puncture towards the end of the race, and the team asked me to stop the car.
Okay, we didn't see that. Just tell us about your race. How was it out there for you tonight?
Well, had a reasonable start, a nice battle with Nico. Didn't want to give it too much of a hard time. I knew that he was on the better tyres for the start of the race compared to me, and so just drove as clean a race as I could and tried to focus forward. But tyres in the first stint gave up rather early, and then lucky we had this new set compared to Sutil that managed to get us close towards the end of the stint, the second stint, and then bypassed him towards the end, having a puncture, a slow, plus some aerodynamic issue. We lost some parts somewhere from the car.
Yeah, did you lose a piece of your front wing?
Yeah. There were some things happening that meant the balance wasn't perfect. So I'm glad we got the race till the checkered flag and took the points we did.
Well done, Michael. A quick update for you on the shirt in the charity auction, well over £10,000. And you can also get your hands on David Coulthard's, we're all at it now, David Coulthard's white jeans. I've got one of my scripts with my covers from my portable tablet. And Martin Brundle's got all of his notes as well there. So there's a whole load of F1 stuff. And if you want to head to bbc.co.uk/Pudsey, you can start bidding for all that stuff, all for a worthy cause. 7 or 8 days left on that. Let's just run through a very few quick emails. This one here says, how much of an influence has Ron Dennis's presence had on Lewis Hamilton this weekend? That's from Alex Broadbent. He's mentioned his mum. He hasn't mentioned Ron Dennis, but could we read into anything?
Well, I don't think that in itself is the reason why he's unleashed the performance, but I was in McLaren's hospitality area earlier, and they passed, they embraced, there's certainly warmth between them. You know, Ron has obviously seen Lewis grow up. He picked him up as a young 12-year-old in karting and made him go through various, he had to achieve certain results in his exams, and they would support him in the lower formulas. So, I think there is a sort of fatherly figure there in Ron, but clearly he's not at all of the races.
We've got one here about the flags out there today. I thought I was the only colourblind man at the Formula One race. Clearly the drivers, particularly Pastor Maldonado, struggling today with the flags. This is from Michael Phelps. Interesting. Hi guys, brilliant coverage as always. Can anyone explain though the yellow flags in the final few laps?
There was a piece of debris lying on, it was a cone, I think, that actually had been knocked off the track, so Bollard was there. So instead of throwing a red flag like they did in qualifying, or free practice actually, they just decided to put a fixed yellow there and let the guys race around it.
Okay, one for you here, EJ. Why in Formula One can't the compounds of the tyres between the rear and the front be similar to MotoGP? For example, soft on the front, hard on the rear if the driver keeps on spinning up the tyres and having problems. That's from Matt in Coventry. Thank you, Matt.
There's no really easy answer to that question. Of course they could. But, what they seem to have at the moment is a very successful formula, and that is that they know the front from the rear, and the size is dictated. Of course, that's the same in MotoGP. So I presume it's just a regulation that's there. It's in place. I haven't heard of this before.
Well, it is a regulation and it is in place. The other thing as well, of course, I think in MotoGP they do have a tyre war, if I remember correctly, where in Formula One there is no tyre war. So it's a cost control thing as well. Pirelli bring 2 different compounds to each weekend and let them get on with it. So if we had the battle like we had with Bridgestone and Michelin, we were coming up with all sorts of exotic compounds and constructions and trying to find the maximum you could from the tyres.
Okay, here's a good one for the both of you from Dan Jackson. Dear F1 men on the telly, thank you. Abu Dhabi would be the most dull race on the calendar if it wasn't for KERS. Discuss.
Well, I don't think it's just KERS. I think DRS has played its part today. KERS remains a slightly controversial technology because we see that it doesn't always run reliably. The packaging in a Grand Prix car is incredibly tight there. And we hear rumours that maybe the Red Bull system doesn't produce quite as much power as some of the other cars, and that's a decision that's made in the actual design phase. It compromises a little bit gives them more room for packaging in other areas. But we have to be seen to be developing future technologies, and there's no question that hybrid and this kinetic energy recovery system is a part of our road cars today and will be increasingly so in the future.
Okay, I think we've done enough of standing around watching other people have a drink while we're not allowed to. Oh, here's Martin Brundle. How are you, Martin? Nice to see you. Let's walk out of here, find something nice to look at, and while we do that, maybe give us your take on the race today.
I was just talking, sorry I'm late, I just talking to a load of fans the other side of the grandstand.
Oh, it's a hard life, Martin.
I was really interested to see, they were really happy, and a lot of them wearing these orange shirts. as well. I said,
Nice.
did you enjoy the race? He said they absolutely loved it. Obviously, they were Brits, so they were happy for Lewis to win. But there's a great atmosphere out there. There's a real party atmosphere just the other side of that rather magnificent-looking grandstand, and still plenty of atmosphere in the pit lane,
It's
isn't
great. I think when you're in Singapore and you're at night under the lights, it feels very similar to that. And this is an incredible facility. You describe it as an impressive grandstand, but it's an impressive pit lane, it's an impressive circuit. The infrastructure is just something else here.
Yeah, and they just keep tarting it up. It's just beautiful. Everyone's a better word than that, really, doesn't it? But I think this is the highlight of the year in terms of the facility, as it were. Just lost my ears there. Here they've come back again.
Hello.
So it's just a pleasure to be here, isn't it? I mean, it's interesting. We had Korea, didn't we, which got such a different feeling to India, which was on another planet, and then here. I mean, I don't know if that comes through at home with the, but it's certainly they feel like completely different events and sports in many respects.
Drop us an email, send us a tweet, let us know whether you get that atmosphere at home. While you're here, let me just ask you a couple of quick emails, get the answers from you, and then we're going to go down there to Red Bull, actually, because Ted is there with an update on their continuing investigations into their problems today. First one to you. Why do so many drivers use the first DRS zone to overtake, only to lose position again in the second zone, Martin? Why not make more tactical sense? Use the first zone to position the car, the second zone to make it stick, or not have two zones so close to each other?
Well, it's unusual to have, it depends on the track layout. The FIA really want 2 detection points and 2 activation points. They need 2 straights longer than 700 metres, so it doesn't work at many of the racetracks. You're right, common sense says we'll just stick behind him, but jam today or jam tomorrow. If you've got a chance to pass, you're going to make it stick. You don't know if the driver's going to run wide at the hairpin, or if you're going to, if he's got a problem. So I guess you've got to try and overtake him. I don't think the drivers would have been completely surprised at just how easy they were repassed. They must have been settling down thinking, got that job done then, and then, woof, where did he come from?
I got to pick up on your analogy. I've heard you give this before, and you're both Norfolk boys. If you say jam today, jam tomorrow, up north we say cream today or cream tomorrow.
We can't afford cream in Norfolk.
Yeah. And also jam's an awful lot healthier. And we've got lots of lovely fresh fruit in Norfolk, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, yeah.
In Ireland we don't do either. Far too much cholesterol in both.
What is it in Ireland today and tomorrow?
I'm not even sure. But anyway, it's certainly not jam and it's not cream.
George
Probably
today, George tomorrow. Okay, here's one about Force India. And this is an interesting one, I guess, as well. And there is something really brewing here with Force India. Why did Paul di Resta not go out for a lap in quali if the team were one stopping him? Pointless and cheating the fans. Come on, Force India. That's from Bruce in Fife. So therefore, you should take this one, David.
Well, we've been debating this all year, and there's very good reasons why teams, once they've had to use extra tyres to get inside the top 10, because it is a struggle for those guys to make it into the top 10, they've basically run out of tyres in many cases. So we understand the reason why there's no point going out in a hard new tyre, because you're going to be second a lap slower than you would do in the option anyway. So it's an issue that needs to be looked at going forward. It will continue to be there unless the teams are given an extra set of tyres in that final part of qualifying that they then give back again and then start the race on their fastest timed set of tyres from Q2.
But Pirelli are trying to come up with some solutions, and the teams are knocking them back. They don't want any change.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They say, no, we can explain that to the fans. I'm thinking, okay, well, I think we're the people that are supposed to be doing that, and we don't have a satisfactory explanation. If it's a top 10 shootout, we want to see 10 cars in it.
Now, that's the point. We want action on the track. We don't want cars sitting in the garage and, Martin and David having to sit there explaining why there's nothing happening when we've built up this anticipation into the final part of qualifying, Eddie.
I will come to the defence of Force India.
Funny that.
It's not a Force India issue.
It is Force India's issue because you're complaining against them. They are doing everything within the rules and the regulations. They see their best result. They finished 8th and 9th today. Their fight is against Renault. They want to beat Renault in this championship. They will do whatever it takes to get sure that gets them closer. They've got another couple of points closer. In fact, maybe 5, is it? I don't know what the extra points that they got to get. They have a possible outside chance to beat Renault, and they will do everything. I don't blame them. The mechanism's in place. It needs to get changed. No doubt about that. But whilst it's in place, they're perfectly fair to do so.
Okay.
I think we all agree with that. They're doing the best strategy for them. I think it's worrying what you say, Martin, that the teams feel that they don't need to change anything because people pay to come and see Grand Prix cars running around the track. People sit in the grandstands, people tune in at home. We should be putting on a show, and that sort of strategic decision, which declines not declined, sorry, deprived,
Yeah.
thank you, us all the opportunity to see a car out on the racetrack. I've got the Eddie syndrome now. I'm much better when I'm not standing next to you.
Yeah, but we're not beating up on Force India, because next in Brazil there could be another team who amazingly get themselves in the top 10, because you've got Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari and Mercedes are going to have 8 of those 10 slots, aren't they? And then somebody gets in, whether it's a Toro Rosso, Force India. And because they've used so many tyres to get there, they have to save them once they get there. So we're not beating up on the teams, really. It's about the regulations. There should be an extra set of tyres or qualifiers or something. We want to see the fastest car and the fastest driver. We want to see 10 of them out there in the top 10 shootout.
Can I just say one quick thing? Whilst we were talking, we had Rocky and Tim Malian, Sebastian Vettel's 2 race engineers, just passed behind us. I suspect they've been down at turn 1 looking at the outside of that curb. No other reason why they would have been down there at this time. So maybe Ted will be able to grab a word with them, or we can take a wander down.
Well, let's hear from Ted first, and then we'll wander down and see whether that is where they've been. What can Ted tell us about Sebastian Vettel's very short race today?
Well, Jake, you can see the Red Bull mechanics removing the floor from Sebastian Vettel's car, and that's because there's a suspicion that actually the floor and how tight it is to the tyre might have been rubbing on the tyre at the start of the race, and actually the floor might have cut the tyre itself. So I think we're about to have a mechanic who's going to come and block our view, so that gives you some answer as to how sensitive they are about this. So I think that's what we're looking at. The floors have tailored very close to the tyre, and some other teams I've spoken to said that they've had nicks from the floor, or sharpness of the floor on the inside of their tyres before, and that mechanic coming to block our view might given the game away. So some attention now going on as to whether indeed maybe it wasn't the tyre just rolling off the rim, but actually part of the tight packaging at the back of this Red Bull itself, which ended Sebastian Vettel's race here in Abu Dhabi.
Interesting. Well, Ted is standing on the outside of the garage there, having a look in, wondering what's going on. I think the one man here that can pop in there and try and find out what did happen is DC. Do you want to go and see whether they have investigated and what they found, David? That would be great.
I'll just grab Kenny before I go there. Kenny. Right, Kenny Hankamer, he's a man that will tell us. Have you had a chance to find out whether it was something rubbing the tyre, whether it was instantaneous failure? I saw Rocky and Tim taking a walk down to the first corner, I presume, to look at the curb. What's the latest?
Unknown still. It's too early to say. We found some more debris. It's gone down to Pirelli, so still unknown.
What's your hunch?
No idea at the moment, to be quite honest. Still a bit of a mystery, really. It's very rare something like that happens, so...
Okay, thanks for your time. Okay. I think that means no point wandering into the garage because I'm not going to see anything. But yeah, I think as soon as they know exactly what caused that, we'll be hearing from them.
There's no point. If you're going to be on the F1 forum, you're going to be caught out, whatever. So don't worry. It's difficult, I suppose, because they might have an inkling, but there's no point in them telling us what they think might be the problem. And they love to protect what they do know sometimes in this sport. Anyway.
Exactly right. They probably don't even want to tell us what the problem was, if the truth be known.
My guess, if you were to ask me, and you're the racing
What's
drivers,
your guess, Eddie?
My guess is simple, that the car, inside every one of those rims, where you have a good rim, and inside there with about 3/4 of an inch, you have a bead. And the tyre sits on that, and when it's pumped up to the normal PSI, and that tyre went down instantly. My guess is whatever way the tyre just absolutely struck the curb at that given moment, the tyre moved away from the bead. The bead, I believe, was at fault, and either the right mechanism or, that surface of the solution they put on the inside of the bead, I believe it wasn't right, and the tyre moved off the bead. It's instant deflation, and that's the end of the story.
It's kind of glued in place, isn't it?
They are glued in place as well, yeah, but I mean, the glue can't be that strong because they've got to get the tyre off the rim at some point. But don't forget, those set of tyres did qualifying as well. That's how it said it's best.
Marty.
No. But we saw others hitting that curb even harder later on. That's what I don't really understand. Unless he just got plain unlucky. Or as David said, if they had just had too little pressure at the start of the race.
Oh, that's another one. Yeah. Which would mean to come off the bead probably easier.
There you go. When you sometimes at home wonder why we don't have all the answers for you, this is why. It's very difficult. Quite often we're sort of playing the game of Inspector Clouseau here in the pit lane, trying to work out precisely what went on. I mean, we're one race away now from the end of the season, so maybe we want to take a little walk down, have a little look in some of the garages and discuss, how we feel about the performance of the team so far this season. I think I think what we would say, Martin, is that this was a race where there were big changes in terms of the tyres and the DRS. Are you getting some important information on your phone about?
I was going to ring Adrian Newey and see if he'll tell us the answer, because he's back in England. But
give him a ring. Put him on loudspeaker.
Adrian, if you're watching this, will you pick the phone up, please? Because we'd really like your opinion on this, if you can. But talk amongst yourself while I'm doing that.
Well, I think it's fascinating to watch you do this. Actually,
I've got to find him in there.
For me, I have said for some races now, I find it intriguing and I really fascinating the fight for sixth, possibly even fifth, dare I say. So fifth, sixth, and seventh. We saw yet another change today, but the good thing, I think, as far as Force India is concerned, I think they've consolidated their position and moved forward. Should Renault be worried? Possibly not. I think they've just about, but I think they have gone very poorly in the second half of this season. I know we spoke to Eric yesterday, and we look for more reasons maybe at the next race, but I feel that Renault there's a lot of surgery that needs to be done, and they need to get up and do that.
Okay, hold on. Martin is talking, so let's go live to Martin Brundle on the phone to Adrian Newey.
Right, I'm on. Are you in Vallelunga? Are you racing in Vallelunga, Adrian? Or are you home? Yeah, we can't find out. We're in the pit lane in Abu Dhabi, and we can't find out what happened to Sebastian. I just wonder if you can shed any light on it for us. No? Okay, so no information through.
So nothing from the team, nothing from Adrian Newey. Perhaps.
All right. Good stuff. We're on red button at the moment. It's really interesting if you want to watch
perhaps it. Perhaps the man himself can explain it for us.
We just got Seb. We just got Seb now. Thanks.
Well, Seb, your team don't seem to know what happened. Adrian Newey doesn't seem to know what happened. You were talking to Pirelli. Do they know what happened?
Got a puncture. But I've just been down to check exit of turn one. No one ever had a failure in 3 years now, so just trying to see whether there's something obvious, and there wasn't. So yeah, we need to find out. We've collected all the bits and pieces left of the tire to make sure we understand. Now we can't change the result, but at least we need to understand what exactly happened. So
when you accelerated off turn one, did everything feel absolutely fine? Because it looked like you turned in, had load, and then lost it.
Yeah, in turn two, but not in turn one. Start was fine, first corner was fine, and then on the way to turn two, I felt already, and then as soon as it's not much of a straight, but as soon as I started turning in, it wasn't.
So the telemetry confirmed then that you had, because you had a great start, didn't you? So
yeah, fantastic.
No tyre pressures going down there.
I was very happy.
You turned in, the car's
no
fine.
problem around here. Now you see third gear, boom, upshifting to fourth, and that's where the tyres seem to lose pressure, and then there's not much time.
But Sebastian, it went down instantly, so it's not a puncture as such. It's like a complete loss of air out of the tyre. I mean, it's instant failure.
Yeah, usually if we see a loss in pressure with punctures, and we've got a corner, another one, and then it really the air starts to leak, and then 2-3 corners later you are
in trouble.
I can't say in trouble. Good. But in that case, it surprises us as much as probably people behind the screens. It just instantly no grip, and I lost the car.
If they never ever find anything with the telemetry or with the tyre, and therefore you don't have a conclusive answer, what would your hunch be? How are you going to compartmentalize this in your head and then move forward?
Well, if we don't know why, then as I said, now it's important to us to find the answer. But if we can't, then yes, I said earlier, it's probably the chance to get a puncture. Then it's like winning in the lottery. Of course, I would prefer to win in the lottery, but there's not much we can do. We have to move forward. Now that I spoke to Pirelli, the tire goes into the library, and they try to, find as much as they can from the bits and pieces left to see if there's any sign of a hole or cut or anything like that.
You guys hate it when you can't find the reason for something. You love to have a definitive answer. Sometimes things just happen for a reason, and maybe that's the best approach for you. You've had the most incredible season. Maybe you were just due a bit of bad luck.
Yeah, likely. I mean, there's not much I could have done differently, As I said, at the moment, it's hard to understand, and we would love to know the answer. I don't know if you have a girlfriend, but if she...
I have a wife.
He's got a whole lot
and if she splits up one day, you would like to understand as well, so...
Well, I think I would. I think I, too, would go and speak to Bernie Eccleston, because he seems to know the answer to everything. Did he not have an answer for you, Seb?
Yeah, he said good timing, which in a way he's right, but, obviously... I think we had a very good chance in that race. The car seemed good. Mark had a bit of a difficult race where he was, but the car seemed quick, so yeah.
The only problem I have with Bernie coming at that given moment was I don't understand why he didn't come 6 races before this, because that's when we wanted some excitement and you out of the championship and giving us more excitement at the end. What delayed him, ask him?
I know the answer to that. Because usually I think that's about the time when he disappears, because he hardly ever
stays for the race.
Yeah, stays for the whole of the race.
We weren't going to tell the people that, were we? But anyway, he doesn't.
No, I did.
Okay, well, Bernie thinks it's perfect timing. I'm not sure about that. 7 or 8 races ago would have been a little bit more interesting. But listen, if you're going to retire at any point in a Formula 1 season, why not do it when you've already won the title?
Yeah, that's true. That's the right thing he had about the timing. So surely I would have loved to participate. To be honest with you, sitting on the pit wall wasn't as exciting as being in the car. So
we saw you watching the race. Did you enjoy the race? What did you think to it?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it wasn't as exciting as being inside the car, and there was at some stages a lot of overtaking going on and battle on the track, but. Other stages it was pretty flat. To be honest with you, at the pit wall it's always busy because that gave me the opportunity to see what is going on, strategy calls, how much before the actual stop they try to prepare, try to read the race, etc. It was initially I planned to stay only 5 laps, but then turned out to be more or less the whole race until it was clear from a strategy point of view.
And did you think how did you think the Kerrs went? Did you think it looked too easy for the overtakes and the re-overtakes, or do you think it added value?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't understand what is wrong with this track in an overtaking manner, because the DRS zones are as long as they have been all year. They're not short. We've got 2 very long ones, and still it looked quite difficult. If any, it looked like the first one was to get close and the second one to try something. It's just very tricky of 5, 6 and then 7 to stay really close enough, and I mean there was definitely more going on than last year, I guess. Yeah. I didn't mind last year, but
well, you're clearly enjoying it because you keep being distracted by the race on the big screens up there. I can see your eyes wandering up there. Before we say goodbye, and thanks again for stopping, can you confirm you have indeed signed Eddie's shirt, because we're auctioning this for children in need, Sebastian, and you're
he was the last to do so.
Michael told me he tried to sign on your willy, but
Michael did that before about 20 years ago. We know what you German boys are like. You took me for a poor old Paddy, didn't you?
Is it still there then?
I think we'll assume that Sebastian did indeed sign Eddie's shirt, and thank you very much.
I'm on the arm, just to, not
that
all
is
Germans like that.
There you go, there is Sebastian Vettel's signature.
I want to just quickly, though, before he goes, he was on the pit wall. Did you see enough to challenge Christian Horner for his future job in years to come?
I would love to be in the car for a while, to be honest with you. So.
Okay, you're a naughty boy. You're an even naughtier boy.
What did I do wrong this time?
He's Irish.
Indeed he is. Thanks a lot, Sebastian, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time in Brazil.
Cheers, buddy.
Well done.
See you, bud.
Okay, let's leave Sebastian and come and stand here and take a little look at this. This is kind of classic Ferrari, isn't it? While you've got other garages wide open, and perhaps in Red Bull they love us going in there, other teams love to have a celebration. They do guard their privacy very carefully here at Ferrari, don't they, Martin, with these white boards up. They don't want to give away anything they don't need to.
Indeed, this is the only time they're allowed to block the view. Every other time, all the teams by regulation have to leave the front of the garages open, because frankly, the people sitting over in the grandstand wouldn't be able to see anything otherwise. But at Pack Up, the Grand Prix weekend is officially over, and they're probably just eating pasta and drinking.
They don't want people copying that. They don't want people copying that flappy front wing, do they?
Well, certainly not the one that Ferrari had. Everyone could have a look at that with all the pleasure they've got, because I don't think it's very special. But I think what used to happen in the years maybe gone by, was people were putting silly covers over cars and blocking the view, and it looked so distasteful. Yeah. And this is slightly better, because it's just, well, it's not better in the first place. I wish they'd keep it open. This business, we have come a long way. We've opened our doors to the public. We've made it possible for people to engage and to embrace the sport. I think we should continue to do that.
Okay, and I'm surprised that they're not letting us have a look at Fernando Alonso's car, because it showed some incredible pace today, as David said. His race was really made by that swift overtake on Jenson Button right from the very start. You can enjoy this while we hear from the man himself.
Fernando, congratulations. A really great start from yourself, 5th to 2nd.
Yeah, it was a good first lap. The start itself, it was not special. It was more or less the same as the others, but we attacked Webber on the outside in 10-1. Then we had the Sebastian incident in 10-2. and took the slipstream of Jenson in turn 7. So in general, second in the first lap. At that point we thought we'll be a long race defending this second position, but it was not like that. The car was performing so well, the pace was so good that we were looking more to Hamilton and to the victory than through the mirror. So that was a surprise, and it was one of those Sundays that the car is better than expected.
Yeah, you seem to stay out longer. Were you hoping that you could just catch Hamilton? Was that a realistic hope for you guys?
Yeah, I think we were on time. We did 2 extra laps to overtake Lewis at the stop. The team told me we should be okay, clear to overtake him now, so stop in this lap. When we arrived to the pits, we have the HRT in front of us, so we lost maybe 1 second there. So maybe the possibility of being in front of Lewis, we lost there. But anyway, even being out of the pits in front of Lewis, the last stint, I think they had more pace than us, so the victory today was a little bit too much for us.
Okay, so it wasn't quite there for the taking for Fernando Alonso, but it was for Lewis Hamilton and McLaren. If we walk down here, you might be able to hear the clapping already. That's because the team are doing their usual celebrations. They all put on their Rocket Red t-shirts. You can see the big board at the back there with Lewis P1, and we've sort of worked out what our plan of attack is for all of these things. If we loiter nearby, we tend to get hold of the drivers and get to have an interview with them. But while we enjoy these shots, David, a quick mention of both Fernando Alonso and Nico Rosberg. 2 very different races, 2 very impressive races.
Yeah, indeed. Again, I think that Fernando Alonso, if we remember back to Korea where he said, I give up. You know, he never gives up. That's the thing that we've been so impressed with. And I think that was a great drive from him today to keep Lewis Hamilton honest all the way to the checkered flag. Nico Rosberg, we mentioned in commentary, you know, he had to really fight to gain that position back from Michael. He ran wide on the exit of turn 1, and he put it down the inside. Good aggressive driving, and as I said, he wasn't happy at all with the outcome of what happened in India, but he not only managed to pass Michael, he then opened up, I think it was a 15-second gap by the end of the Grand Prix. So, you know, that was a comprehensive beating of his teammate.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's focus on these pictures here. Martin, we know that Lewis took pole position 3 races ago. In India, he was the 2nd fastest car, but sadly, he got penalised after that. Front row of the grid again here. Both cars on the podium. How good is this for McLaren ahead of next season to be finding this kind of speed and this kind of race pace as well towards the end of the year?
Well, McLaren clearly show they know how to make a fast Formula 1 car. They just don't seem to always get it at the beginning of the season. This is only the 2nd time this year, Spain being the other, that we've had 2 McLaren drivers on the podium at the same time. But clearly they do great pit stops, and their strategy's been strong, and they've just kept improving their car against something that's mighty good with Red Bull. But going into the winter, I think the relief, you could sense the relief with Lewis, and I think it was so important. And Fernando Alonso too. The other man who needs a result, of course, is Mark Webber. But interestingly, I was also reading as I was coming over that Lewis can't now beat Jenson in the championship. He will not be worrying too much about that at the moment because he beat everybody else today.
Yes, I think, as he has said and as Jenson has said, David, 2nd in the championship is not the concern at this stage of the season. For the last 2 races, it's all about wins. Lewis said, the last 2 races, I want 2 wins. Well, he's 50% of the way there.
Yeah,
well,
great result.
Yes, indeed, he can. And the great thing about McLaren, we've seen him come back from the doldrums in the past. They had a horrible testing program at the beginning of this season, and yet they've dragged it up. And here they are with 1 race to go. And, you know, you could say it could be a good fight in Brazil. Let's hope it is. Yeah. But for me, McLaren, it always seems just a little bit of an extra struggle to win the race, whereas Red Bull seem to do it with ease, whereas it needs a titanic battle.
And look at that smile on Lewis's face. Let's just enjoy these pictures for a moment after a difficult season so far for Lewis. This is great to see. And this is what's wonderful about the F1 Forum. Always getting a chance to see the shots that you wouldn't normally see. And that's exactly it. The lady who the race was dedicated to.
Lady in red.
Lewis Hamilton's mum. Everybody needs their mum, Eddie.
Well, indeed. Some are fortunate to still have them here. And Mama's very proud there. This is a very special moment. She will remember that, as indeed so should Lewis, for the rest of their lives, because moments like this are magical. You can never erase them out of your mind. And that's what makes this business so special.
And so the aim now has to be, David, for Lewis and Jenson, give us a car capable of winning races from the first race in Melbourne.
Yeah, McLaren, they came back from what was a very turbulent start to the season, but once they got on top of the development of this car, then they've been right there battling with Red Bull. So if they can deliver that from the start of the season, then they will add more championships, that is for sure. They've got two truly world-class racing drivers that complement each other with their driving styles. So they just need the car.
And a quick line with the lady of the moment. How is this for you today?
Absolutely fabulous. I couldn't have had a better birthday.
All right, well, happy birthday. You must be a very proud mum right now.
You've been nice to Lewis.
I have been nice to him, have I? I'm always nice to him. I would just said something. I said something that moments like this, Lewis and you, your mother and son relationship, it's something that you can never actually explain properly if there isn't that relationship. You'll remember this for the rest of your life.
I will. Thank you, Eddie.
Okay, so we've been given a bit of a mission here, and the mission is to get to the corner of the garage, past everybody else, to where Lewis Hamilton is, with his trophies. I don't want to ruin everybody's photos, but equally, we can't pass up the chance to have a little chat with Lewis. Hello. I don't want to be in the picture. I want everyone at home to get a nice big close-up of your huge smile. We spoke 2 days ago, and you described the fact that you want to get a happy bubble around you. Your mum turns up, and you put out a race like that. She has got a very big smile on her face.
I know. Well, she's... Well, it was her birthday, so it's perfect end to the weekend really for us. But I was talking about that. I think just having positive energy around you, and I think this weekend I did. I love being here in Abu Dhabi, and it's just things just seem to go right. You know what it's like when you're racing. It's a knock-on effect. It just got better and better.
Looking at it, apart from that last lap in qualifying, it was a faultless weekend. I couldn't see any mistakes at all during that Grand Prix. So just what level were you pushing to? Was that 100% to win this race, or did you have Fernando under control and that was a very controlled and disciplined 99%?
No, I really think it was a really controlled 99%, like you said. It's with Fernando, at the end of the first stint, he was getting reasonably close. He was starting to catch up, but we pitted and then came back out. And just from then, I was able to just maintain the gap really comfortably. Every time the team told me, you're 2 tenths faster, or he was 2 tenths faster, the next lap I'd answer. So it felt great.
I was going to ask you about that. What did feel different that enabled you to just, that was the drive that we've been used to seeing from you in the past. It's 8 Grand Prix since you won in Germany, an amazing race there, especially when you got round the outside of Fernando at turn 2.
Yeah.
Great aggressive driving. What felt different about that performance out there today that you haven't been feeling in the last few races? Can you articulate that to us?
I think it's just I think in the back of my, when I arrive at the races, I feel positive. I got great messages from fans, and I feel positive when I come in. But there's a real negative vibe from everyone generally. Just when you're doing interviews, there's always negative questions. But there's just in my personal life, there was just some negative things in the back of my mind, and that kind of that affects your judgment. And I think in the last race, I made a bad call, and I got a penalty, even though I qualified second, and that really affected the whole weekend.
Lewis, we've got to tell you, sorry Martin, we've just got to say, we appreciate your openness and honesty in dealing with this, because a lot of sportsmen would just hide behind a facade. So well done to you for sharing that with us all.
Thank you, mate.
Lewis, what was going through your mind when you saw Sebastian going backwards into turn 2?
Just don't collect him. Just don't collect him. I was just trying my best to avoid him. And when he pulled out, I thought, geez, now I'm in the lead. That makes it a lot easier. But then I saw Fernando got past Jensen, and I knew that I was going to be massively tough to hold him off. And Fernando's, when he's on it, it's so hard to. The moment you make the smallest slip up, he's on your tail, and it could just cascade from there. But fortunately, today I was strong enough mentally to just hold him off.
Well, let's have
Lewis, I'm going to interrupt with Jake,
go on.
if I may,
I'm
not going to ask him a question. I want an answer. Some people call you Carmen, others Brenda. Could you clear it up for me? Because I know you as Brenda. Please explain.
Oh, I'm Carmen Brenda. So
you're Carmen Brenda.
Yeah.
But what do we call you?
Brenda.
Ah, that is clear.
Brenda, can you tell us how it's been for you? Because I know you're normally back home watching on the television. Lewis, as he has admitted himself, has had a tough season at times. How has it been as his mum wanting to be at the races, giving him a bit of a hug?
Just always wanted to be here for him, but we're here today, and it's been such a wonderful experience for my birthday as well. So.
And what do you take from this, Lewis, to going into next year? You've said, you've spoken about the bubble that you referred to that Jensen has around him. What can you do to get into a happier place, to have people around you that just make you feel like you're walking on a cloud?
I think I just need to invite them.
You go.
I've got the people there. It's just, you know, when you just sometimes you just want to focus on your job and without sometimes distractions from friends and stuff. And for this weekend, it was just really a real pleasure. And if I can keep that, then I need to have more people come, friends and family, and I'll get my dad and Linda down, get my brother to come to more races. I think that's what I miss. Having them all here and having my mum here, so it's a positive thing. Having family is the most important thing in life.
Right, well done. And sometimes you have to go through seasons like this to have the highs as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Well done, man. We're happy for you. Well done, Lewis. Congratulations. We'll let you have another few thousand photographs while we try and squeeze past everybody and make our way out to the paddock. Well done. That was the most abnormal interview I've ever had. We had David Coulthard leaning over a silver box. We had Martin leaning around the back of the workstation, and Eddie whispering sweet nothings in Lewis's mum's ear. Very interesting.
Nothing changes there, does it? That's sort of normal.
But it is an important point, Martin, and I think, you know, maybe you can take us back to when you were driving. Was there a period in your career where you thought, actually, I've got the fitness, I've got the car, but I haven't got the mental happiness, or I haven't got the mental fitness? Because that is as important if you're going to win races and win titles. And maybe Lewis is learning that.
No, I didn't have that. I had the support mechanism. I was sometimes lacking the speed, is what I was worrying about. But we know that Lewis has not had that problem. He's just not been delivering that speed. And then, because he's been tripping over people, and it's just if it could go wrong, it has gone wrong for him. And but to be honest, this is a completely new phenomenon, to sort of have needing a posse of people around you to make life work out at a Grand Prix. How about you, David? Your folks came along sometimes, didn't they? And
yeah, they didn't come along that often, to be perfectly honest. When they were here, I was delighted, because I grew up racing with them around, and it was just, you know, they had a business to run, and I have a brother and a sister. They couldn't come traipsing off around the world with me all the time, but I usually had my girlfriend with me, and, you know, if I needed friends, I always had them on call. But the bottom line is, you've got to just deliver in the car. But we're all different souls, and, you know, I genuinely, when I said to Lewis there, I thank him for his openness and honesty, because I'm not sure I could be that open if I was going through those sorts of turmoil, emotional turmoil. And I think it shows strength of character. You know, this is who I am. I'm Lewis Hamilton. I know I've won a world championship. I know I'm a quick driver. I'm just searching. I'm 26 years old, and I'm searching for my happy place.
I think what's different now is the drivers you see on the grid were karting at 8. Their education got passed by to an extent. They never went to a job interview. They never went to uni. They've never been fired. They've not lived. There's no cornerstone. There's no foundation to their lives. They've been professional racing drivers from 8, 9 years old. And I think that when it all gets tough going, they've got no reference point to fall back on. I think that's the difference, and probably why we didn't need loads of people around us.
Jensen, don't be shy. Dive in. Come on in. A new look Jensen Button with his Go Faster stripe as well.
Where do you want me?
There is right just there. Fine. There is just fine. Lewis takes the win. Congratulations to him. But actually, that drive for you was special. Struggling with technical problems on the car, having to defend, having to attack. What a race for you.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, first of all, congratulations to Lewis and the whole team. It's great wearing these, even though it isn't you that, you know, it's not you that's crossed the finish line first. It's still it's a great buzz for us. And as I said, you know, to end a year with wins and great results means a lot to these guys, and it means they're going to go home and hopefully keep building the car for next year and keep making it stronger. For me, it wasn't the easiest race. I lost curves on lap 12, and it's not, you don't just lose lap time in terms of corner exits, power. It's under braking that's the issue. When you have KERS, you have lots of KERS braking, so like engine braking. And when you don't have KERS, you have none of that. So it's, you know, you're braking with just the brakes, and the difference is massive. So when it flicks on and flicks off, I don't know when it's flicking on or flicking off. You don't know what you're going to get when you get to the corner. So it was fun, but had a good battle with Mark, and I'm really happy to get a podium.
Well, let's have a look at that battle with Mark, and maybe you can talk us through it. Explain it from the cockpit for you.
Yeah, this is down into turn.
At the end of the long straight into 8,
he got a good run on me there. I think he worked out next lap round that you can't overtake on that straight, so I can just get him back here. So,
did that work, having two zones so close, where if someone got past you, you could flip back past them?
I think this is at this point I still had KERS as well, which made it a lot easier for me. But then later on, when he came and challenged me, I didn't have any KERS, which is this point in the race. So this made it very difficult for me to really fight him back.
Okay, I think that's actually a replay of what we saw just a moment ago, but it must be so difficult. We can actually see that second incident now.
Here it is.
You feel like a sitting duck?
Yeah, you do a little bit. I had a little bit of a lock up there, but yeah, it's very tricky because you've lost all your power and you don't know how hard to hit the brakes when you're actually trying to make a move. So it's tricky. But
you came back up the inside though. You didn't give up on that one.
Yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed that, and to be fair, I don't think we should have been in that position anyway if we had our curves working. But even so, I had a great race with Mark, and we came away with a podium, which is good.
When Mark eventually got past you in between 8 and 9, he sort of took a very straight line to the right-hand corner to make it very clear that he was cutting you off there. Were you comfortable with that?
Well, to be fair, I wasn't really interested in fighting him anyway because he had another pit stop to make. They went for a very unusual strategy, so he knew that he had to cut me off here, and basically I backed out of it very early. I could have carried it to the next corner, but he had another stop to make, and I spoke to the team before and I said, does he have to stop again, when he was closing me down, and they said yes. So it sort of settled it for me of what to do.
Mark would have taken your front steering arm with him if he had half a chance there, wouldn't he? You had to get out of the way in a hurry.
Yeah, he did, but we've had some good fights over the last couple of races, Mark and myself, and we're tough, but we've been pretty fair, and that was a highlight of the race for me, battling with Mark. It always is. He's tough, but fair.
The old Toreador was a bit fighty on the first lap, wasn't he, Fernando?
Oh, Fernando was flying, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I mean, we went through turn 2. Obviously, Sebastian went out. I backed out a little bit, and Fernando didn't back out. He was on my tail all the way through turn 3, down to turn 4, and he just got a really good run. I couldn't do anything about that.
We can have a look at
down
that
the
now.
straight. So his braking was phenomenal. He did a great job here under braking. And we battled. Exactly, he gave me a bit of space then. We battled for a few corners, but I couldn't really make it work. So anyway, I don't think I would have held him behind. He was very, very fast. He was quicker than me today, and he finished second. So third's not so bad, but hopefully we'll turn it around in Brazil.
Very quickly, any emotion when you came out of turn 1 and saw Red Bull sliding across and going through turn 2? Explain to the people at home what a racing driver thinks at that moment.
I'm sure it was for Lewis, it was very different because he could see it all happening in front of him. So he's like, oh, he's out of the race, that puts me in the lead. For me, it was more of a shock because Lewis was blocking my vision of Sebastian, so I couldn't see Sebastian lose it or whatever issue he had. All I saw was the car facing the wrong way, and it was a bit of a shock when I went through turn 2. But, we've all had bad luck this year, and well, except for Sebastian, but now he's had it. So
they've been down looking for the tin tacks.
Look at his
tin
lead.
tacks you left there, but they can't find them.
Jensen, I've got to ask you this question because you're talking about Lewis here and the fight in the team, but nevertheless the good companionship that you have. You're 28 points ahead of him with one race to go. Has that sunk in yet? Yes, it has.
I mean, I haven't looked at the points. I didn't know that before you said that, but yeah, I am 28 points ahead of him, but he also did a better job than me today. So, it's the way it goes, and he's a very tough teammate. He's always going to be very difficult to beat, and it's nice when you do, and when he beats you, you respect that he's done a better job. So, yeah, there's a good rivalry there, and I think you need that within a team.
It's very healthy.
Sorry?
It's very healthy.
It is so far. Yeah, it is so far.
And you're talking about wins towards the end of the season, not where you finish in the championship, but finishing in front of Lewis or finishing in front of Mark, who's had a quicker car all season. Which of those would give you more satisfaction as a driver?
Your teammate, it's always nice to beat your teammate on points when you're driving the same car, but you've all been through different situations through a whole season. That's why it's so exciting a Formula 1 season. To beat Mark is also very special because he's in the car that's won the championship. Also won the championship 4 races ago. So fighting with Mark and coming out on top is a great feeling. Yeah. He's no slouch. The guy can drive a racing car. He might not have done quite what Sebastian has done with it this year, but he's a very quick driver. So that's also great. And Fernando as well. He's 10 points behind me in the championship now. Yeah. Fighting for second. Some say it's the first of the losers.
Who says it isn't going down to the last race?
But still, we're still excited about it, and I still want to beat Fernando in the championship. So.
Great. Well, we have to let you go, but before we do, is this trying to challenge this man for the most impressive facial hair on the BBC? What's this about?
That'll take some doing.
Oh, really? Will it? Oh, really?
Oh, that's a challenge.
At least mine's not grey, though.
Well, when you're my age, I want to see what you look like.
You know what they say, you're better with grey hair than nay hair.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
It's looking good though, and it isn't too
The old
grey.
philosopher himself over there. Look cool, Tard.
I like that though.
The comedian.
I think we're on the same page.
But it's looking nice, and that's for Movember. And anyone else doing their bit in the team?
There are a few guys. Jonathan, our tyre man, actually working for Pirelli's doing a sterling job. Actually, he's doing a great mistake, as my manager calls it.
Mistake.
But yeah, I mean, it's great that we can do a little bit. And there are many people around the world that are doing the same thing and looking as silly as me.
Absolutely.
So very proud of them, and it's all for us lads as well. So.
And just like Jess, a million girlfriends around the world desperate for that to be shaved off in 16 or 17 days or whatever it is.
She loves
it. I
it.
don't believe it. Listen, thanks for joining us. We'll see you out in Brazil in a couple of weeks. Happy memories in that place for you.
Yes, very happy memories. So looking forward to going back. Yeah. Cheers, man.
Well done. Thank you, Jensen. We'll let you take your water and hand the microphone to someone far more important and responsible than us. So there we go. Another F1 Forum down. Number 18 of the season. Good fun once again. I think we got to all the places we wanted to go.
I love the Forum.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost a shame that we're running out of time, because I can see Pat Fry over there, who's taken the technical role at Ferrari. He's standing with his team. They must be reflecting on, not a bad weekend, all things considered. We've been talking about when are Ferrari coming back. They need to win races, they need to win world championships. They're not far away. They've got something to build on for next year.
And more important than Lewis winning a race today, more important than the championship and the fight for 6th in the constructors and 2nd in the drivers, your shirt continues to go up by thousands of pounds every minute.
Why not?
One last plug for it. Explain to people what it is, what they can do.
Well, the one good thing about this shirt is you're not going to see it again, certainly not at another race, because after 2 races I'm getting fed up with it. So it needs a new owner, but it needs to be somebody with lots of loot. It's for children in need. Please, it's a wonderful, wonderful cause, particularly coming up to Christmas. Dig into your pockets, guys. If you can, it has everybody but everybody on this shirt.
Okay.
Go out and buy it.
I like the way you refer to money as loot. Loot normally means stolen stuff.
Well, we're in Formula One. Are they not similar sort of subjects, but nevertheless.
Exactly, right. bbc.co.uk/Pudsey. If you would like to get your hands on this, I do believe that George himself is putting his hand in his pocket and maybe bidding on this. We'll find out. But thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you in Brazil in a couple of weeks for the final race of 2011. Happy bidding. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Time on Formula One, round 18, Brazil.